For some context, I am a 42-year-old man and my wife is a 39-year-old woman, and we have 2 kids who are 10 years old, a boy, and 7 years old, a girl. My son and daughter mean everything to me. However, for the past 5 years or so, since before infection 19 and a bit after, I worked overseas and I rarely came home. I am a petroleum engineer and work on offshore rigs. I came home maybe 4 times in the past 5 years, only staying for a week at the most. My kids basically think of me as a stranger, and that is not their fault, it is mine. But everything I do is to provide for them, and my wife works overtime, and I cannot even begin to express how much I appreciate her for that. She has been so understanding. We need the money, hence why I do what I do. The issue: I recently came back and switched to an on-site desk job about a month or 2 ago. My kids are still shy around me, and I want to get to know them better. My kids recently started coming out of their shell, and they usually spend a couple of weekends per month at my in-laws' place whenever my wife has to work weekends. My wife had to work this weekend and told me on Thursday. I asked my kids if they want to spend this weekend with me instead of their grandparents. No pressure, of course. I did want to incentivize them staying though, so I promised ice cream after dinner both days and a fast food lunch, both with my wife's permission. My son accepted immediately, and my daughter had to be bribed with a later bedtime on Saturday. Wife approved once again. I just did this because I want to spend more time with my kids. I know I cannot make up for the times I've missed, but I don't want to miss anymore. However, my in-laws called me yesterday and gave me an earful about how I am interrupting their time with their grandkids and how I am breaking their tradition. I told them I just wanted to spend time with my kids, and next time my wife has to work the weekend, I will send them over for sure to make up for it. They said I should find my own time to hang out with them and make traditions with them, and not interfere with what's going on. They accused me of bribing my kids for affection. Partially true, I guess, and for taking their grandkids away from them. They also called me a deadbeat, which I feel wasn't fair since I didn't want to be away. My job made me, and I was constantly sending every penny I could back home. Had my kids still said no, I would have sent them to their grandparents. I did bribe them, but it's just with school and everything. I barely get time with them, and weekends are the best. And with my wife on her business trip too, I get one-on-one time with them. I was just so excited, and may have gotten carried away. My wife is going to stay neutral on this, but am I the idiot? Am I the a-hole for interrupting their grandparent time? Edit. A commenter and others have mentioned my long absence from home, and if that was really necessary, I will just add this bit for additional context. I was working on rigs and for petroleum in the Caucasus. I was in Azerbaijan and Russia most of that time. In Russia, as an American citizen, I was warned that carelessly leaving the country would put me in a terrible position when I tried to re-enter the country for my work, due to the geopolitics between Russia and America. In Azerbaijan, I was having visa issues to begin with, and I was advised by an immigration lawyer in Baku to not leave with my visa and stay until the end. The job was paying me a decent amount of money that my family was dependent on. I talked through it with my wife, and she was the one who encouraged me to stay and tough it out, and she was my rock. We needed the money for my kids, and my wife's brother-in-law passed away, so we had to help out my wife's sister as well with our nieces and nephews. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Ever. If your in-laws cared about their grandchildren at all, they would be encouraging them to spend more time with you. These are your kids. Do not feel guilty about wanting to spend time with your own children. Your in-laws owe you a huge apology, and your wife needs to demand the apology comes, or they don't get to spend any time with your children. Comment 2. They are being extremely nasty and insulting. It's unreasonable for them to expect to have every weekend with the children. Maybe it's time the family sees the in-laws less if they can't respect you as a father and a provider for your family. In-laws' fake traditions do not trump a father spending time with their own children, not the idiot. Now, for the update. Hey everyone. It's been 3 days since I posted about the situation with my in-laws and wanting to spend the weekend with my kids. A lot has happened since then, and I thought I'd give you all an update. So, after the call with my in-laws, I was feeling pretty down. I've been trying to rebuild my relationship with my kids, and their words hit me hard. But I decided to focus on the positive. My kids were going to spend the weekend with me, and I was determined to make the best of it. Saturday morning, I woke up early and made pancakes, my son's favorite. He was surprised and happy, and even my daughter, who who's usually not a morning person, seemed to enjoy the breakfast. We spent the morning playing board games and just talking. It was the first time in a long time that we did something as a family without any distractions. In the afternoon, I took them to the park. We played soccer, and I taught my son some tricks. My daughter found a little friend, and they played on the swings together. It was a simple day, but seeing them laugh and have fun made me feel like I was finally doing something right. When we got back home, I let my daughter stay up an extra hour as promised, and we watched a movie together. She fell asleep on the couch, and I carried her to bed. It was a small moment, but it meant the world to me. Sunday was even better. We went out for fast food, and I let them pick where to go. They chose a place with a play area, and I watched them play together, something I realized I had never seen before. It was a bittersweet feeling, knowing all the moments I had missed. Later that day, my son asked me about my work overseas. I explained to him why I had to be away, and he listened intently. It was the first time we had a real conversation about my job and the sacrifices we had to make as a family. He didn't say much, but I could tell he was trying to understand. That evening, we had ice cream and talked about school and their friends. My daughter showed me her drawings, and my son talked about his soccer team. It was the most normal and yet the most extraordinary weekend I've had in years. But then, my in-laws showed up unannounced. They wanted to take the kids for dinner, saying they missed them. It was awkward, to say the least. I didn't want to cause a scene in front of the kids, so I agreed, but I asked if we could all go together. They hesitated, but eventually said yes. Dinner was tense. My in-laws made a few snide remarks about how I was suddenly trying to be the fun dad. I kept my cool, though, and focused on the kids. After dinner, my son, who had been quiet the whole time, spoke up. He told his grandparents that he was happy to spend time with me and that he wanted to do it more often. My daughter nodded in agreement. My in-laws were taken aback. They didn't expect the kids to speak up for me. The ride home was quiet. But when we got back, my in-laws pulled me aside. They apologized for their earlier comments and admitted they were just worried about losing their connection with the grandkids. I assured them that wouldn't happen and that I respected the bond they had with my children. We agreed to set up a schedule for weekends so that the kids could spend time with all of us without any conflicts. It was a huge relief to clear the air and come to an understanding. Now, it's Sunday night and the kids are in bed. I'm sitting here reflecting on the past few days. It's been a journey of emotions, but I'm grateful for how things turned out. I feel like I've taken the first step in the right direction with my kids and even with my in-laws. I know there's still a lot of work to do, but this weekend has given me hope that things can get better. I'm looking forward to making more memories with my kids and being a part of their lives in a way I haven't been able to before. Roommate leaves toxic cat and bails, so I threaten a shelter. A surprise pet sitter, and 2 months rent later, the tables turn. I, 22-year-old female, house share with Mia, 22-year-old female, and Amy, 23-year-old female. We all finished university courses last year. I am doing a postgraduate course at the university, while they entered employment. We got together through mutual friends as we were all looking for a rental. I spend most of my time at university or working in my room. 6 weeks after we moved in, Mia came back from visiting her parents with a cat that used to be hers when she lived at home before university. She couldn't have it at university, so her parents kept it. I was not happy. I hate cats due to a bad childhood experience, and I was annoyed that she didn't discuss it with us. She just said that the landlord didn't mind and that it wouldn't be a problem. Amy likes cats and was pleased, so I was in the minority. To keep harmony, I didn't make a big issue out of it, but I made it clear that I wouldn't do anything for the cat at any point. A few weeks ago, Mia announced that she had a 3-month work placement in another part of the country. She would have free accommodation, so she wouldn't be moving out permanently. She would still pay her share of the rent, but couldn't take the cat. Again, I was not happy, but Amy said she would look after it. Mia left 3 weeks ago. Shortly after, Amy got ill with some health issues, but I won't go into that here. It means she has to temporarily move in with her parents. She left a week ago and won't be back until after Christmas, so I'm left alone in the house with the cat. I immediately called Mia and told her that she needed to find someone else to take the cat. She said it was unfair of me because she didn't know that Amy wouldn't be around, and there was no one else locally who could take it. I said that it wasn't my problem because it's not my cat. She asked for a few days. The cat is not no trouble. It is needy. It goes outside but whines by the back door after being out for an hour or so. If I let it in, it's not long before it starts whining outside my bedroom door. I have a lot of university work to do, and this is distracting. It did this even when Mia and Amy were here, but it's worse now that they're gone. I've been feeding it, but I hate having to do this. The food stinks up the place and is running low. It's been a week since I spoke to Mia, and there's still no sign of the cat going anywhere. I message her about it every day, but she just brushes me off. In desperation, I called her parents directly and asked them to come and get it. They were annoyed with me and asked why I couldn't just look after it. They couldn't drop everything and come for the cat, as they live over 3 hours away. I told them that unless someone picked up the cat within 48 hours, which is how much food it has left here, I will take it to the local animal shelter and tell them the full story, that its owner has effectively abandoned the cat and left it to someone who doesn't want to take responsibility for it. Mia has been calling me since then and calling me an AH. Am I the idiot? Edit. Thank you for the replies. I can't respond to all of them. But there were a couple of things I wanted to address. Firstly, why are some people accusing me of condemning the cat to death if it goes to a shelter? That might be how it is in your country, but I'm in the UK, and the shelter I would take it to is an RSPCA one. They're a charity that looks after animals that have been abused or abandoned. They don't euthanize animals unless they're ill or mortally injured. So if you accused me of that, you're just wrong, plain and simple. I would give them full details of the owner and the circumstances surrounding this matter. Mia would be able to reclaim it when she takes action. Also, some have misunderstood Amy's return. I know I said after Christmas, but that doesn't mean exactly on January 1st. She is quite ill, and I won't share details, but even she doesn't know the time frame. It will just be sometime after Christmas. It could be a while after. Thank you again for your replies. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Absolutely not the idiot. You have given her more than enough time to make alternative arrangements after her initial arrangement fell through. She sounds like she isn't ready to take care of a pet on her own, and the cat will be better off being rehomed to someone who is. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Why didn't the roommate watching the cat take it with her? You told them from the start that you wouldn't be watching the cat and that you didn't like cats. The only options I see are the shelter or charging her for effectively pet sitting. Now for the update. Hey everyone, a lot has happened since my last post, and I've got quite the update for you all. Remember how I was left alone in the house with Mia's cat? Well, buckle up, because things took a turn. After my last message, Mia's parents finally got back to me. They were still upset, but they agreed to a compromise. They couldn't come to get the cat, but they offered to pay for a local pet sitter to take care of it until Mia could reclaim it. I was relieved, but there was a catch. The earliest they could arrange for someone to start was in a week. That meant I had to take care of the cat for 1 more week. I wasn't thrilled, but it was better than nothing. During that week, the cat's behavior started to change. It became more clingy, always trying to curl up on my lap while I was working. I tried to keep my distance, but it was persistent. I guess it was missing Mia and Amy. I didn't want to admit it, but I started to feel a bit sorry for the little furball. Then, out of the blue, Mia called me. She was in tears, apologizing for leaving me in this situation. She explained that her placement was more demanding than she expected, and she felt terrible about everything. She also said she missed her cat terribly and was worried sick about it being taken to a shelter. I was still annoyed, but hearing her so upset made me soften a bit. We had a long talk, and Mia made a proposal. She offered to cover my share of the rent for the next 2 months as a way to make it up to me. She also promised to send me money for any cat-related expenses until the pet sitter took over. I was taken aback by her offer. It was a generous compromise, and it would help me out financially. After thinking it over, I agreed. The pet sitter started, and things seemed to be going smoothly. But then, another surprise. Amy's parents called me. They said Amy was feeling guilty about leaving me with the cat and wanted to help. Despite her health issues, she insisted on paying for a professional cleaning service for our house to deal with any cat mess and to make my life easier. I was touched by her thoughtfulness, especially considering her own situation. With Mia covering my rent and Amy arranging for the cleaning service, I started to feel less resentful towards the cat. I even caught myself playing with it a few times, which I never thought I'd do. It was like we were all trying to make the best out of a bad situation. Then, just when I thought things were settling down, Mia's parents surprised me with a visit. They wanted to see the cat and check on how I was managing. They brought a bunch of cat supplies and even cooked me a meal as a thank you. We had a heart-to-heart, and they shared stories about Mia's childhood with the cat. I learned that the cat was more than just a pet to Mia. It was a part of her family. I started to understand why Mia was so upset about the whole situation. The pet sitter has been great, and the cat seems to be doing well. Mia calls me every week to check in on her cat and to make sure I'm okay. We've actually started to get along better than before. Amy's health is improving, and she's hoping to come back sooner than expected. She's been keeping in touch, and we've been supporting each other through our respective challenges. My son's mom exploded when I offered cash, so we set up a trust fund. She'll regret agreeing when she learns the twist. Throwaway account. I, a 39-year-old female, have been married to my 43-year-old husband for 9 years, and we have 2 kids. We met 11 years ago in private rehab, and we are both clean and sober. My husband is from a town about 2 hours away from where we live, but was somewhat of a town legend/cautionary tale. Let's be Reddit friendly and say he was promiscuous. Part of his ability to remain sober was to move away. However, his parents and a large family still live in the town, and we attend family events and see his parents and siblings regularly, although often, for obvious reasons, at our own home. I am the sole heiress of a large and complex estate, and as such, most of my affairs are dealt with by solicitors. Since getting clean, I have a nice part-time job that gives me plenty of time with my children, a nice home in a good school area, and my husband runs his own small carpentry business. We have a very privileged life, for which we are incredibly grateful. About 6 months ago, we were visiting my husband's family for a party. Shortly afterwards, we were contacted by a lady my husband had a past with to inform us that he had a son who was then 10, not his real name, but I'll call him Mark for ease. We obviously did our due diligence, and indeed, Mark is my husband's child. The lady hadn't informed him before, as she assumed he was still in the same position he was 11 years ago, and had been unaware that he was now clean, sober, and well off. She said that had she known, she would have been seeking child support from us for years. In fact, she'd been told he was in prison. My husband and I were very keen to be a part of Mark's life, both financially and physically. We have spent 6 months working on this. Mark's mom has 4 other kids, and they are not in a great position. So, we have been eager to let Mark know that he is also part of our family. Rather than going through child maintenance, followed by a settlement that might not benefit anyone, as child maintenance apparently doesn't all go to the family, my solicitor suggested that we make a settlement to Mark's mom for the 10 years of no support, and we offer to pay for Mark's secondary schooling, which is due to start in 9 months. There is a great day boarding public school about a mile from our home, and our children go to the prep school. We thought Mark could stay with us during term time weeks, and we could drive him home on weekends or whenever necessary. We haven't discussed this with Mark, but have discussed it with the school, which is happy to take Mark if we can make it work. However, when we spoke to Mark's mom, she accused me of trying to buy her son. I feel awful. We just want to do our best for Mark and make up as much as we ever could for the lost years. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. No idiots here. I get that you were trying to make sure it would all work before bringing it up as an option. But you do have to understand that it very much would involve taking her daughter away from her by using your money. Just reassess and apologize for not asking her if this would be of interest to her first. Then proceed with discussing what you could do for the son without overstepping. Comment 2. You're the idiot. We thought Mark could stay with us during term time weeks, and we could drive him home on weekends or whenever it was necessary. This is just bizarre. Why on earth would his mother agree to this? You've known the kid for 6 months and think it's realistic to essentially take primary custody. Uprooting his life like this really isn't in his best interests. Now, for the update. Hey Reddit, it's been 2 weeks since I last posted about the situation with my husband's son, Mark, and a lot has happened. I'm back with an update, and let me tell you, it's been a roller coaster. First, let me give you a bit of background on my husband's past. Before we met, he was known for his rough lifestyle in his hometown. It was a small place where everyone knew each other's business, and his reputation was, well, let's just say it was colourful. That's why moving away was crucial for his sobriety. It gave him a fresh start, away from the triggers and gossip. Now, onto the juicy stuff. After the initial shock of finding out about Mark, we've been trying to figure out the best way to support him. We thought we had a solid plan, but Mark's mom threw us a curveball when she accused us of trying to buy her son. That hurt, especially since our intentions were pure. But here's where it gets interesting. After that confrontation, my husband and I had a long talk. We realized that maybe we were going about this the wrong way. We were so focused on what we thought was best for Mark that we didn't consider how it would look to his mom or how it would affect their relationship. So, we decided to compromise. Instead of pushing for Mark to stay with us during the school term, we offered to help in a different way. We proposed setting up a trust fund for Mark's education, which would cover not only his secondary schooling, but also any post-secondary education he might want to pursue. This way, the support would be directly for Mark's benefit, and it wouldn't feel like we were trying to take over. Mark's mom was taken aback by this offer. She had expected us to fight her, to insist on our original plan. But when she saw that we were willing to work with her and respect her role as Mark's mother, she started to soften. Now, here's the jaw-dropping moment. During our discussion, my husband mentioned how he wished he could have been there for Mark from the start. He talked about his own struggles and how becoming a father to our kids changed him. And then, out of nowhere, Mark's mom dropped a bombshell. She admitted that she had kept Mark a secret because she was afraid. Afraid of my husband falling back into his old ways. Afraid of the influence he might have had on Mark. It was a moment of raw honesty that changed everything. We all had tears in our eyes, and for the first time, it felt like we were on the same team. But wait, there's more. After that emotional breakthrough, Mark's mom did something we never expected. She invited us to come to her home and spend time with Mark and his siblings. She wanted them to see that we weren't the enemy, that we genuinely cared. The visit was, well, it was amazing. Mark is an incredible kid, smart and curious, with a love for woodworking, just like my husband. They bonded over their shared interest, and it was like watching two pieces of a puzzle click together. Our kids got along with Mark and his siblings too, and it felt like our families were blending in the most unexpected way. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. There were moments of tension, little reminders that this was all still new and fragile. Mark's mom and I had a confrontation about the future, about what role we would each play in Mark's life. It was heated, and for a moment, I was afraid it would all fall apart. In the end, though, we came back to our compromise. We agreed to take it one step at a time, to keep the lines of communication open, and to always put Mark's needs first. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.